I've been in Unarius since 1975. I walked in when I was 17 years old, looked around, started studying, and said, this is the best thing I've ever read in my life. I love this. And you know, the videos we've done have a tendency to overwhelm the actual teaching, which is all about understanding yourself as an energy being, understanding that you've lived before, and understanding those different past lives affect who you are right now. So if you have different problems, that's in energy waveforms that you've impinged within that psychic anatomy from those past lives. And if you have certain things you do very, very well, there's a reason for that as well. And that's something you've done over and over again, so it becomes very easy for you. So that's in a very quick brush stroke. That is what Unarius teaches. And then, of course, we've been made famous by these outrageous videos.
Well, I noticed there's a lot of like dark stuff in your videos, but you guys are such an idealistic group. I mean, Uriel always said the future of planet Earth is positive
Yes.
and progressive.
Yes.
What's that all about?
Well, the idea is that, which I think it doesn't take a genius to look around our world and realize that we've got a lot of problems, and we're kind of a dysfunctional humanity on this globe. And the Unarius understanding is that not only have we lived before on this world, but on many other worlds as well. And we've had different, very deep, dark, emotional scars that have happened throughout many different civilizations and many different times. And the timeline for humanity isn't that we began at Cro-Magnon man, and now here we are now. It's that it has gone up and down and up and down over and over again. So to discharge those negative different pasts, we would set up those scenes and enact them out. And as I said to different people, it's one thing to say, oh yeah, I realized I was this evil person that I may have killed somebody before. When you have to enact it out, it becomes very real, and then watching it back becomes extremely cathartic. Changes a lot of that inhibitions or problems you may be going through and lets it go. So.
And Tracy, how long have you been in Unarius?
I've been a student since 1984, and when I walked in the doors, one of the things that I was most impressed about was that it's a self-taught, self-healing science. It's not something that you look outside of yourself for help or guidance on one individual. There's no focus on a God person. It's something that you pick up a book and you study, and what you feel relative to and what you get help with is what matters to you most. And I love that aspect about it. And having seen myself change tremendously, and so many students who have taken the hard miracle of truth and accepting a lot about yourself they don't necessarily like, opens you up to be more creative, to be more inspired, to be more light-filled, and to engage yourself in a progressive future. And that positive progressive future that Uriel talked about is happening to each one of us as we make that change within ourselves to be a better person. It's not going to happen by the government or some entity or something outside of ourselves. It's each of us saying, no, I want to be a better person. I want to take responsibility for my life. And as a result, the whole world changes. As you see it just with the people around you when you change yourself.
Well, that was what was so impressive to me, was that when I got to know a number of the Unarians, I got to hear these stories about how they came into the group, and many of them came in with a lot of neuroses or drug addictions. They had a lot of issues, and so many people were transformed and are still Unarians like 30 years later. So it was really powerful to just sit around a table with them and hear their stories, and then hear that like a number of you were involved in healing professions. Like Lonnie, this woman Lonnie works with severely
Alzheimer's patients and assisted living facilities and nursing homes, and she is a music therapist, and she helps them tremendously, not only with the therapy that she does, but it's more with the hookup with her higher self, that she allows these higher beings, celestial beings, to project love through her consciousness, that these patients who might be upset or angry, when they go to her sessions, they light up like a light bulb and they start singing and enjoying themselves. And so it's that healing power of love that we're all working through our consciousness as we work out these past lifetimes that we've all experienced.
And something I wanted to share with everybody here, because you saw us doing all these crazy stuff on the screen, but Uriel, when she started and initiated us doing the psychodramas on film, there was probably about 75 people in the room in one of these classes, and she said, you guys are going to make movies, you're going to make films, and you're going to be just surprised by how much and what you're going to be able to do. And all of us were extremely inhibited. So, well, maybe one or two weren't. So it was a learning process for all of us to go through this and experience the healing. And as we did so, you know, films, I mean, we weren't actors and actresses, so we're, you know, film kind of hokey. But they did start to have a better storyline, and they started to evolve, and it was an amazing thing to see this fruition of all this love that Ruth Norman and Muriel poured into us.
I mean, I find the acting or the performances or whatever you want to call them, like, very intense and powerful. Like, you know, when I see other low-budget films, like exploitation movies, there's a realness that I really feel, even though you guys aren't, you know, didn't have any act. Because
No, we didn't have acting skills.
You're authentically conveying feelings that you recognize from other lifetimes, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But can you tell us a little bit about the films, the videos that we saw right now? Because you were involved in a number of those, right? And Tracy,
Absolutely.
you acted in a bunch too.
Yeah. The films that you saw was kind of like a mashup of probably 7 or 8 different films that we made, or movies, videos. So as Jody said earlier in the introduction, we'd set the scene and say, okay, we're reliving this type of past and a group karma between us, and each of us would, and sometimes being pushed and prodded a little bit to do something that maybe put us out of our comfort zone, that was something we needed to resolve. Sometimes we went in a little more exuberantly, but you saw parts of Lemuria, you saw parts of our Orion series, which is Life in Another World, you saw parts of Ramu, you saw parts of The Arrival, Roots of the Earth Man, all kinds of stuff. So yeah, it was an exciting and incredibly invigorating time because, you know, we were exploring, and we're doing something that we're so far out. I was so far outside of my comfort zone, it was crazy. You know, Ruth Norman just said, you know, have some faith. This is going to help you. Have some faith. And it did, and it was amazing. And then, you know, you take a baby step, and you'd see the help, and you take another one. And I can honestly say, 20 years ago, I could not have stood up here and done this, or 30 years ago, it's been 35 years actually. But I could never have done this if I hadn't done and had all that help and healing by being involved in all these different videos.
So there's something psychologically very real happening.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
When you put that costume on and you've decided you're committed to being part of whatever the scene is, or we also did where a student or a group of students were having a particular problem. It may not have been part of a bigger film, but we still would get dressed in costumes and film it and act whatever that interaction was with your siblings or your family, and different students would choose to be in that other role for you. And it was very, very healing, very uncomfortable in the process, but also so enlightening afterwards when you feel those emotions and that interaction, and it was so real. It's like, oh, now I see what that past is and how why I did that, and why I've had this resentment towards this person, just anger, and then you have a positive change.
Right.